Hi, this is SandyB. Welcome to the 90 Day Wins Podcast, Episode 11. Come get your wins every 90 days. I am so excited to share with you the 90 Day Win Podcast, where we talk to regular people living their goals, achieving their goals a quarter at a time. Wow, this was not going to be the episode that I planned for episode 11. See, 11 is my favorite number. So I had one of my special goal getters I was planned to drop for episode 11, but life happened. And this is real life, right? So you make plans and then things happen and you have to pivot. You have to change. You have to reassess. You have to change plans. And so that's what we're doing in this episode, but still keeping on our wins because it's important to keep moving towards your goals, regardless of obstacles. That's what goal getters do. Regardless of what may be going on around them, what they may be experiencing, they are still moving forward in their goals. And as a goal getter, I still have to move forward in my goals. I still have things I want to accomplish. And so here we are, episode 11, Courage to Win on the 90 Day Win podcast. This episode, we talk about serious conversations that we all should be having in the wake of what we've experienced here in the U.S. and what we see all over from people who are protesting injustice. We need to talk. We need to have conversations. Courage to have conversations that aren't easy, that actually, frankly, are painful and hurtful, because we realize some things here in the country, right? We have to think about how we've been moving as the United States and the things that we continue to deal with. And as the Black community, we've had enough. So this is a really interesting episode on how we all have to have the courage to get our wins. Here on the 90 Day Wins podcast, this is SandyB. Enjoy this episode of the 90 Day Win podcast. We would have been a week out from the horrific murder of George Floyd. This episode is about courage to win. As many of us here in the United States are yet again reminded that there are so many painful conversations that we still need to have. And so this episode is talking about courage and how my personal story this week specifically has really just shaken me as a goal getter. I am really concerned and extremely angry and upset and frustrated, and as so many other Black people in America, tired and frustrated by so many things that have occurred and continue to occur in this country, the United States of America. So my way of talking and encouraging, as that's what this podcast was created to do, to encourage goal getters and to encourage everyone to go and get their wins. So this episode is encouraging you to get your wins even in the face of obstacles, even in the face of frustrating times that we are currently in. And I thought some of the ways I could do that and share with you how I am finding my courage to win in this time is to tell you a little bit about my history here in the United States. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I was born to immigrants of Guyana, South America. My grandmother came to this country, and she did so for a better opportunity for her family. Her husband, my grandfather, was not okay with that. They lived a pretty good life in Guyana, South America. but they had multiple children, and some of them were already out of the house already. And my grandmother had the vision of coming to America and providing more for her family. And I believe that really was the catalyst that led to their divorce. So fast forward, my grandma came to this country, my mom in this country, she met my dad. My dad is also from Guyana. And so these people have worked to help build the fiber of this country, specifically in New York, because that's where they lived and they worked and they had children. I literally can touch so many physical structures in this country on the East Coast and know that people in my family have helped to build it up. So imagine how someone like me, a African American with immigrant family members who came to this country to provide for themselves and their families. And then my husband, who is from Jamaica, and his mother did the same thing, came here for a better life for her child. And he was able to come here and go to school, and he worked, and we met at work and New York Life Insurance. So we have a rich history of immigrants coming to the United States. My story is not unique. I have 50 million other friends and family who could tell you the same thing of their family heritage coming to the United States. These people had courage. These people had courage to forge ahead to a country that told them to come, the land of the free and the home of the brave. They came, they believed all these things written in the Constitution that talked about a better life for their families. So these people had courage. They had courage to believe and to have faith that they could have a better future for their families. So fast forward to 2020, all the hope and all the dreams we all have for our lives. So many of us, we talk about vision on this podcast a lot. When we think about what we want for ourselves and for our future, we think about vision and what we would do to achieve, what goals we want for ourselves, as well as our family, as well as our community. We talk about this a lot on this podcast. So you think of 2020, you think of all the things that have happened this year. It's amazing because of all the bad things that have happened personally. Some amazing things have happened for me personally, from this podcast to an opportunity to talk with so many different goal getters from around the world, just experiences. It should be a good year. I should be excited and hopeful and overjoyed that the goals that I'm putting in place, they are coming to fruition like I knew they would, because I've planned for them. I've prepared for them. I'm encouraging a life of wins. When I talk to people, I'm always ready to hear about their goals. I'm always ready to hear about their wins. But this past week, I've been crippled. I've been stuck. I've been frustrated. I've been bombarded with news that I couldn't turn away from. See, normally I wouldn't watch. Normally, maybe I'd read, maybe I'd hear, but I did not allow myself to see things that I needed to see. I didn't allow myself to feel the pain because I know I have self-control when it comes to not allowing myself to feel certain things. But on Tuesday, May 26th, when the newscaster on CBS told the viewers that this is graphic, something in me said, do not turn away. Do not turn it off. Watch. Your people are being killed. Watch. And so I watched in horror. No words. George Floyd was murdered. I watched. And then I called out for my husband. And I remember saying, oh my God, honey, they killed him. You may ask, why did I watch? See, I have a 13-year-old. She's amazing. She was asleep. But I know she would have seen it. And I wanted to tell her, like the newscaster told me before I saw, that this is graphic. This is hard to watch. If you can't handle it, you probably shouldn't watch it. I wanted to tell her. I needed to tell her. I needed to speak with her about what she would see. I can't control everything she sees. I wish I could. If I had it my way, I would put her in a bubble. And her and I laugh about that. But I can't do that. I'm not always going to be with her. I need to help her be courageous in this time. This is SandyB, and I am excited that you are here and you chose to listen to this podcast so you can be encouraged and you can go get your wins, because you too can be a goal-getter. If you'd like to hear more, feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Download this podcast, share it with your friends, and leave a comment, leave a review. Hopefully it's positive. We will definitely take those, and just continue to allow yourself to plan and prepare and envision your 90-day wins. Enjoy. How I think we are courageous to win is something I heard from a live this week from Valerie Burton, and I agree with it. She said that we have to have conversations, painful conversations. And that really has stuck with me these last couple of days. See, in going through this anxiety, it makes me sick to my stomach. So I've had to go through that. I've had to throw up quite often. I've had to breathe. I've had to disconnect, literally turn my phone off, and have painful conversation with myself. I couldn't even have conversation with some of the friends that I need to. And I literally put that in text saying, we need to have a painful conversation, but not now, soon. Because what I realize is I haven't been courageous in my conversations. I haven't had those painful conversations, whether it's with people that look like me, people that are Black people that I know, that I talk to, that we somehow look away. We somehow know it's like an unspoken rule that we probably shouldn't talk about this. So we don't. We don't talk about it when we're in environments with people that aren't Black, and they say certain things, we just let it go. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. So some of that anxiety that I have been feeling is because I know I haven't had these conversations because they're too painful to have. They're too painful to have about this country that we live in, that we all say we love. It's too painful. I'm an African American woman, grown up in Brooklyn, very proud, went to school in North Carolina, lived in Florida, all these different states, very proud Black woman. But I also have to be honest with myself and say, this country has lied to me. It's lied to my family. It's lied to so many of us who believed all these things that they pour into us about this country. It's not true. It's not the home of the free and the brave. It's great for some, but not for all. So how can it be great? We don't know our history. They don't teach us our history. And we, as Black people, have to seek it. Whether you were born here or whether you immigrated here, you have to seek the truth. Because if we truly understand our history here in this country, we would say enough. We would say enough. Martin, Malcolm, Marcus Garvey, they all died. It's enough. It's enough. How many more of our people are we going to stand around and be okay with dying? We had a Black president. No one was charged for murdering Black people during that term. We've got to stop acting like we don't see what's going on. We have to have courage. And that's painful. These painful conversations that we need to have amongst each other about how we build our communities, how we don't feel as if we have to be a part of a system, going to work and dealing with multiple Amy Coopers. Hello, I still continue to. Enough, enough. So many of us can talk about our corporate experience. That's my life. I can talk about that. I can talk about how many times I was told things by directors and senior management, controllers. We're so brainwashed. We have people that look like us that tell us to hold on, change is coming in that situation in a corporate environment, and then they leave because they know they can't affect change, and they know that they told you they would make changes but they couldn't, so they lied to you to keep you on that hamster wheel, but then they leave. That's how we do each other. We've got to do better. I'm not saying I have any of the answers, but I know we've got to have conversation. We have to collectively decide that we will not be treated the way we have been. And so this episode is about having courage. And as we all figure out what that courage is for us individually, let's have these conversations with our friends, with our coworkers, with all those friends that say, oh, I'm not racist. I have Black friends. Well, those Black friends that you have need to be talking with you, because there are some conversations that I know I am praying. I have already sent text to say, yes, we will talk, but not right now. There are other conversations I need to get on the phone with some people who I care about dearly, who don't look like me, who are Caucasian, who I know I follow on social media, and I see nothing. And it's not for me to bully them, but it's for me to say, hey, friend, this Black friend that you have hasn't had a conversation with you. So let's talk, friend. Let's talk about how racism can't continue. We make the change. We the people. We the people. The people. These politicians aren't helping us. We see it time and time again. We're told to go vote. The popular vote, Hillary won. The election was still. You see what we have in office. So it has to be more than voting. It has to be more than voting. My vote is not counting in this country. So what else do we need to do? That's the courage we need to have. We need to ask these hard questions. We need to hold our politicians accountable. It is not acceptable for you to say, if you're Black, you have to vote for me. That is not acceptable, because my Black vote on either side does not serve me. It does not serve me. So what else? It's time for a change. And so we have to be courageous, because it's not easy. Change does not come easy. Growth does not come easy. 400 years is too much. 500 years is too much. It's enough. We've had enough. And so it takes courage to say that we need change. It takes courage to fight for change. It takes courage to stand up and say, we will not continue this way. We have to have the courage to have the conversations. So when we have the conversations and we talk to people that don't look like us, and they see and they know that we are no longer going to say, yeah, it's really sad, we have to pray for the country, another Black person dead. No more. No more. Because your Black friend like me, 2 years ago, tell you a story. 2 years ago, my daughter and I are driving here in Georgia, and I was late for something we were going to. I was speeding. I was definitely in the wrong. And I explained that to her when we were pulled over by the police officer. It was a young Caucasian police officer, And I remember thinking, wow, he looks pretty scared. And in the car was my daughter crying in the back. So I kind of felt confused as to why she would be crying. I tried to calm her down as the officer approaches me on the driver's side, and I rolled down my window and I noticed his gun. He didn't have it pointed at me, but I noticed his gun. He had his gun to his side. We're on 285 at the side of the road, and the right after you get off onto the highway. I give him my information, but I remember thinking, man, he looks scared. I complied with whatever he asked for. I gave him, and then he went back to the car. My daughter's still crying. I explained to her, it's fine. You know, he's here to make sure we follow the rules, and I broke the rules. So she proceeds to calm down. I don't even remember if I got a ticket or not, but I went on my way. I don't think I got a ticket. Fast forward to this week. We're driving. I don't know where we're going. Oh, I know. We were going to a drive-by birthday for one of her little friends this week. I'm driving. Mama, slow down. I'm not driving fast. Slow down, Mama. What I've come to realize is her mama's name is Sandra. Remember Sandra? Sandra Bland? Sandra was stopped for what? Speeding? Something? I don't know. Sandra was taken to jail. Sandra was killed. So this Sandra has to be mindful of the fact that I have to drive slower. I have to pay attention and understand that so many things are affecting us in so many ways, and we have to have those conversations. And so one of the conversations was with my daughter to explain to her that I could understand how this would be scary, and it's scary for me too, but we are not going to live in fear. We're going to obey the laws. Mama's going to make sure she takes her time, but we are not going to live in fear. We're not going to live in fear that every time your dad leaves this house, we're going to be concerned if he's coming back home. We're going to pray, as we always do, for his protection and his covering, but we're going to have faith, and we're going to know that God is protecting us all. So yeah, this episode is about courage. Courage to win. Courage to win in the face of all that we are experiencing. And the thing about it is I can sit here and say that this is only affecting people that look like me, Black people in the US, but that would be naive of me. Because the truth is, there are quite a lot of people that aren't Black that are affected by this. Because this country is built on and has been built by immigrants, right? People from all over that have decided to choose this place to call their home. So many of us are affected by it. So many Black people that aren't in this country that have loved ones or ties to this country near and far all over the world are affected by this because this country sells a lie and everyone is seeing the truth and it's not pretty and it's very painful as we continue to expose what this country tries to hide for so long. We need courage. I encourage you to have some painful conversations as I do. I feel like we are changed forever by the events of just this year alone, all the things that have occurred. So we all asked, as I definitely asked, for clear vision this year as I go through with the things I wanted to accomplish. So that vision shows me some painful, ugly things as well, some beautiful things. And I have to accept them all because I asked for them. So I encourage you to do the same. I encourage you to talk with your family, talk with your friends, talk with those friends that you've talked with before, but never had a real deep conversation. I plan on, and I can tell you that I know it won't be easy. And I think that's why these last couple of days I had to allow myself to go through the pain of it so I could be courageous and I could be stronger. To even voice this podcast takes courage. So, friends, as we move forward, I pray we all find the courage to keep achieving our goals and to keep moving in a positive direction for our world. Forget just the US, for our whole world. So I encourage you to be courageous in seeking your wins, because I think it takes us, the people, to make the change we want to see in the world. It takes the people, not the people we elected, because we see what they do. It takes the common everyday worker, those warehouse workers, those office workers, those essential employees. It takes us to unify and to make the change we want to see in this world. So I encourage you, be courageous in getting your wins. This is SandyB on the 90 Day Win Podcast.
Come get your wins with the 90 Day Wins podcast, where we talk to goal getters. You can check us out at 90daywins.com. That's 90daywins with an S.com. That's our website where you can check out our blog, where we give more in-depth notes and conversation about the interviews with our goal getters. Also, you can check us out on social media, 90daywins.com. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. This is your host, SandyB, and I'm encouraging you to go get your wins every 90 days on the 90 Day Win Podcast.